Hi there, and welcome to another episode of the Creative Write podcast by Sen Alexa, and that's me. Today I'm to talk to you about formatting your novel, your book, or actually it could even be a poetry book or anything. Formatting your manuscript, your work of art, your masterpiece. Yeah. But once again, all my information is in the episode description, so subscribe to my mailing list, check out my website. If you're watching this in the future, I might already have my book out, so check that out. It's going to be a series. Maybe I have more books out now already. I don't know. But yeah, anyway, check that out. And yeah, let's get on to the topic. So, formatting your novel, your book, or whatever you are working on. It could be I don't know, short story collection or anything. And this is just going to be a rough scratch, like, well, a lot of my episodes are a rough scratch on the surface. But first of all, let's start by, talking about softwares you could use for formatting. I know um, people who use, Mac. It's Mac, right? Yeah? People, and, Apple stuff. You have access to Vellum. And I have heard great things about it. I don't have Mac, I don't have iPhone, I don't have any of it. I'm not an Apple user, so I don't have access to that. But I believe even PC users are going to get something similar soon. Uh, I think it's called Atticus, and I believe it has something to do with Kindlepreneur too, and so on. But yeah, if you Google Atticus like book formatting or something, I think you could find it. It's still like in beta use or something at the time of filming this, but it's August now, and I think this might actually be coming out in October. I could be wrong, but I'm not sure when this is coming out, like this episode, so it could be already out. I don't know. But yeah, definitely check it out. But those are like, if you aren't that perhaps experienced, I believe those can be used to, format both paperbacks, hardcovers, and ebooks. So check it out. If it seems like something you'd want to hear more about, there's definitely YouTube videos and everything about both those already at the time of filming this. So yeah, check that out. But that's not what I'm using. I'm not using either of them, even though I think in the future I might be intrigued to try Atticus. But we'll see. I'm using InDesign, Adobe InDesign, but that's not. If you have no experience with graphic design or anything, it might be a little bit, tough, or it might be a bit of a struggle, especially if you're not willing to learn a whole new software, and so on. Or maybe it's easy for you. If you can use Photoshop, you can definitely learn to use InDesign, for example. So, if you use Adobe's stuff, Photoshop and so on, you can definitely try InDesign. But you can even format on, Microsoft Word, for example. It's pretty basic, and I actually thought about doing that, but I have access to InDesign. I have like the monthly subscription thing and the Photoshop and those other things. So yeah, definitely using that one because it's a bit more professional, and that's actually what like professional book formatters are using. So if you have, the skills a professional book formatter would have, why wouldn't you use the same softwares? Because that's, a bit more professional. So yeah, that's what I'm doing. It's, I know how to. You can format both, like all paperback, hardcover, and ebook on InDesign too. So you can definitely do ebook too. And if you feel like you could do paperback and hardcover there, or on Word, but you can't make the ebook, like format the ebook, there's definitely the option of, like, for example, using the draft to digital. I haven't used, at least not yet. I haven't used there's like, I believe it's like this free feature when you use draft to digital, and I believe Smashwords might also have something similar, but you can like upload your Word file, and then they'll make it into an ebook, and then you can kind of like add like these. I believe you can add like chapter headers and something there too. But you can also do. I mean, if you're doing that for paperback and so on, you can do that on Word. But just remember, all that bleed stuff and so on. And you can also do it on InDesign and probably on Vellum and Atticus too. I don't know about that, but definitely on InDesign. And I'm not sure if you can use your own chapter header like pictures on Draft to Digital. Maybe you can. I'm not sure. I really don't know. But especially with like Word and InDesign, you can do that. But yeah, if you struggle with the ebook, for example, there's always Draft Digital. I have heard good things about it, but definitely check out YouTube videos and other stuff about that one. Or maybe there's podcast episodes about it or something. Because I don't have experience using it. I only have used InDesign, and I mean, yes, I've used Word for my studies, so I know how to format with Word. But it's a little bit. Microsoft Word isn't made for formatting your book, so just keep that in mind. But you can definitely do it on Word too if you know how to use Word. But it's not the most simple of like ways to format your book. But yeah, InDesign is definitely I think one of the like industry standards right now. I believe like all professional book formatters, as far as I know at least, use that one. But yeah, those are the ways you can use. And obviously you could hire someone, but if you can format yourself, why would you hire someone? But definitely, yeah, hire someone if you feel like it's too much work, it's too much effort, you don't know how to do it, and you want to make sure it looks professional. Maybe you want someone to design your chapter headers and so on. So, And what I mean by chapter headers is, these pictures at the beginning of your chapter, when it says like chapter 1, then there might be some pictures or, other stuff, or like, something. And, this usually like illustrations or something, or I don't know, character art, or perhaps the first page of every chapter is like black and the text is white, or especially with InDesign you can do that. I don't think it's so easy with Word, but if you hire a professional, you can definitely get that done. Or if you know your way around, like, I mean, yes, it's kind of like graphic design, yeah. Yeah, you can definitely do it yourself too if you have the skills and what it takes, and so there's that. And do you have to have? Excuse me, my dog started barking. I'm gonna let her out. And I'm back. So what were we talking about? Oh yeah, chapter headers. Not all books have those. Some do, some don't. But especially like fantasy books, for example, I feel like have those. And also like, I believe also like romance novels, for example, especially if there's a theme like Christmas or Halloween or something, I believe those usually have like chapter header, like these illustrations or something. I drew mine myself. And then if there's also like time skip and you have space in between paragraphs, that's also where you might want to have, something, some kind of little illustrations or something. It depends on what you want. I mean, if you're self-publishing, and by the way, this is mostly for self-publishing authors, because usually your publisher formats your book if you're traditionally published. But I believe most of my followers are self-published authors, but don't worry if you're traditionally published, there is content for you too. But yeah, and one more thing, now that we're talking about traditional published authors, this also applies to self-published authors. You should always format your novel, not the way it is formatted for, publishing, but you should always format your book to make it look clean when you send it to your editor. Just a thing to keep in mind, and you can definitely do that on Word. It doesn't have to be more than like, make sure your line, like line spacing is alright, and so on. That's basically it. And also font size, by the way. But yeah, that's basically it. That's what you have to do. And also paragraph indents, by the way. That too. But I think that's about it. Yeah. But then, yeah. Do you need to have chapter headers? I like them in books. I think you should have them. But if you don't, I don't think that's a crime. But when you are like, when you have a published book, if there's space between paragraphs, like time skip or something, I think you should have something there. Some people only place a line there, or like these 3 stars or something. It can be something like, it can literally be like 3 dots or something, just to make sure everyone, sees the space in between those paragraphs. But I think you should definitely have that. It doesn't have to be an illustration, but I personally like books with illustrations, and it doesn't have to be anything like major. It can be just like something little. Like, for example, let's say it's a medieval fantasy story. You could have a sword or a bow and arrows or something, or a war axe, or some weapon or something, knife, dagger, or it could be a crown if it's about royalty. And yeah, there's so many options. But yeah, that's about it. I don't think I have anything else to say about formatting. Although one thing about chapters, when when your chapter ends, don't continue on the same page, even if it has like a line or two. Still, every chapter should start on a new page. Make sure your chapters start on a clean new page, and for example, let's say chapter 1 ends on page 10, then chapter 2 begins on page 11. Some classics save up space by having the chapter start on the same page as the previous one ends, and I think that looks just horrible. But yeah, that's everything for today. Thank you so much for being here. I hope you subscribe to my mailing list. Check out my social media, follow me there. And yeah, check out my website. If I already have my book out by the time you're watching this, definitely check that out. And yeah, thank you so much for watching once again. Happy writing and goodbye, creatives!